All right, market update. I'm actually starting with NVIDIA today. So I looked at NVIDIA, it was falling so much. When they did the split, my chart got completely messed up. I think it's still up here. You can see it up here. And so I just didn't rechart it. But I went through it again on the weekly time frame. And get rid of this. I think that you can pretty clearly see that we are in the fifth wave. It's pretty obvious. 1, 2, 3, 4. What isn't obvious is where we're at. Are we in the fifth? Did it already top out right here, or is another move higher? I personally think there's another move higher, just based on the overall market too. So you can kind of see there's a little red weekly right here. Pull back for a fourth wave, fifth wave higher. And we're getting this fourth wave back, in my opinion. So I started buying today. I bought at... The one thing I don't like, though, on the daily is we did finish below the 20 and the 50 is way down here at 100. So I'll point that out, too. That's not the best setup. But I have a parallel line that I drew. Let's go ahead and show that. And we crossed it today. So what I think is going on here is I think this is a quick fourth wave. This is a very shallow second wave. We're getting a forceful fourth wave down. We zoom in here a little bit farther. Potentially ABC down here to 115.41. This is daily demand right here. So I bought at 119.50 and then after hours I bought at 117.10. But I'm keeping my biggest order for in here. So I will probably be buying tomorrow if this hits low 115s. I'll be buying in there. And we'll see. If it comes straight through this and breaks through this, I'd probably get out of it. But it should bounce out of there. It's due for a bounce. Regardless, if it's going down to 100 bucks, that's another reason I'm buying is because even if I'm wrong and this is not a fourth wave, we're probably going to get a bounce out of here. So let's just say this is an A wave down to 115. We're probably still going to bounce back to 127. There's actually a gap right here too. So in that case, I would still make pretty good money. I would still make like 10%. I'm buying like 200 shares, so it wouldn't be that much money. It'd be like 2,400 bucks. So if I'm wrong, I can still make 2,400 bucks on a bounce. If I'm right, then I can make. Well, let's just say we go to 150. The top here was at 140. 150, my average is around like 116. Then I'm making, that would be close to like 30 or 40%. So I think NVIDIA looks pretty good for a buy tomorrow. We'll see. Like I said, the only thing I don't like, it's below the 20. And you have the 50 down here in the next demand zone. And this is the one everyone's talking about. Everybody thinks it's coming down to here, which is definitely possible. That would probably invalidate my thesis, though, that this is a fourth wave. Let's see how far that would retrace. That would be... Not necessarily. That would just be a little bit past the 0.23 fib. This is actually a pretty shallow move. So if my thesis is right about SPY bottoming tomorrow around 538 to 541, then this is probably bottoming here. Or is it going to do this? This is possible too. We're going to get that. If that happens, then SPY is probably going down to the mid 530s. So you can see why I'm buying on NVIDIA. My number one pattern I'm looking for is just this up to 150, but this is also possible too. So I'm buying here. Let's see what happens tomorrow. That is NVIDIA. Let's go to SPY. So video yesterday, I talked about this right here. It nailed it perfectly and sold off right afterwards. You have 538 to 541. So NVIDIA comes down. This is probably coming down into this area. The market looked like it was green in futures. Futures don't matter. So again, if NVIDIA goes to 100, then SPY is probably going to go like this. But if NVIDIA bottoms, then like I said, this is probably it. Outside the parallel line right here by Tuesday, tomorrow, 2 o'clock or so. And if that happens, then we're ready to go. NVIDIA to 150, SPY to potentially 600, or maybe like 570, 580, whatever. So you can see how SPY and NVIDIA are correlated, the most correlated. Let's look at Black Box now and just get an idea of what is going on. So I did 500,000 above the ask, and you can see here everyone, they're buying calls. And the last one at 119 was for 628, above the ask 2 million. These were all bought higher. They're all calls. You do have a put 975,000 for 628 at 110. They bought that at 119. They're probably going to close that out tomorrow. And then these are probably going to print, I would think. I think we're probably going to go back above 120. So I don't see anything here. Let's go at or above the ask. Okay, so you do have 3.82 million right here on a 109 call for 920. You have some $100 puts. Those are probably sold puts, I would imagine, but I guess they could be bought puts. That's the tricky part with this, is you don't know what this is. But above the ask, I can tell you it's a put or a call. So I'm seeing more call activity. That kind of supports what I'm saying for it to go down to 115 and then bounce. So that's NVIDIA and SPY. AMD is going to follow NVIDIA. So probably coming down tomorrow. I want to see it hit 157-ish. And then I'm looking for that third wave higher. So another reason why I'm bullish on NVIDIA, it doesn't make sense for it to go down to 100. If it goes to 100, then AMD is going to probably lose a bunch. And that's not going to happen. So again, AMD probably going up here to 190 when NVIDIA goes to 150. Let's go over Apple. Apple had a nice bounce and then it's retracing. I would think it would hold this low right here, and you can already see I have it charted out. Probably going to new highs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to new highs, break 220. And then it can retrace to 195. So if you haven't watched the videos before, that's what I'm looking for. So one more high on Apple. Microsoft, I already have it drawn up too. I think that Microsoft's a little bit different. Maybe this is in a fourth wave too, or it's in the middle of a fifth wave. I think the third wave probably needs to go a little bit more. We hit 451. I think the 1.61 fib is at 464. Yeah. So Microsoft's probably going to 462. And then like that, and then up. And Meta, I'm holding Meta too. It was up early in the day. I made a mistake on Friday of selling a covered call. completely screwed me. I would have sold here, knowing that this is probably a C wave here. And, but it could be a first wave too. I actually got rid of that covered call because I was like, okay, this is definitely corrective. I don't have to worry about it. So Meta is ready to go, I think. I think they're all ready to go here soon. So I think tomorrow will be the last day down, according to what I see. And if I'm wrong, then I'll have to change everything. But this is what it looks like to me. 550-ish for Meta. And let's look at the options for Meta. Let's go above the ask. There's only one above the ask, it looks like. 500 call for 920. If you go back to like last week, I think. Maybe it was the week before. I saw some calls that the IV was rising, that in there above the ask. That pretty much sums up, shows that they're buying a bunch of calls. They were bought above 500 too. So I'm very confident that Meta is going higher. We can look at Apple too. Why not? Apple. So Apple, kind of a mixed bag. This one expired. Let me get rid of this date. Let's just go to flow. So Apple had none. Microsoft, none. Let's look at SPY. SPY had all puts though, but those were bought at 544 and 546. So they can close those out tomorrow, and that's completely fine. QQQ, I'll go over that in a second. Lots of calls bought. They did have puts right here at the very end, though. Let's go over QQQ. So down more than SPY, broke below this first demand zone. Get rid of that. So it's probably coming down here to 468. So it's probably got another 1% down. This is actually, maybe that's a 4-hour. Or I didn't mark it right. So, okay, here you go. 467.20. That's right where the 20-day moving average is as well. So I think that this is also making a fourth wave, and it's going to have another move higher. So you can see it pretty clearly here. So 467 would be my target on QQQ. So tomorrow or the next day is probably going to be the bottom. I'm missing a few of the tech stocks that I'm not really following that much, but GME still looks like it's ready to bounce for me. I still think this is coming up here to like 30 to 40 bucks. Rivian bounced today. I talked about this demand zone, and look what happened. Hit the 50, bounced straight up here to the 20. Did not break above the 20 though, or did not finish above the 20. I still think that this is probably going much higher over the next month or two. And oh, how could I forget Tesla? But Tesla is, I really haven't been trading this, and I really haven't even been paying attention to it that much lately. I'm just waiting for the breakout. And you can see here, last video I said, this is impulsive, this is corrective. We should get an impulse move higher, but we got another corrective move. So that means we're looking for one more move down. I don't want to see it break 176.98, but this could mean that we're looking at that. And then that could turn into this. So I would expect some downward movement on Tesla tomorrow, down to like 180, and then I would expect a pop after that to 196, and then eventually 207. I think that based on everything else, this is probably ready to pop, ready to go to new highs, and ready to finally get into this monthly supply zone. We'll see though. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think Tesla really had any options today. Yeah, nothing significant. They had calls last week. And Bitcoin is falling right now. I still think that this is bullish. I'm really looking for a diagonal here. So it's got to hold the bottom here at 56,595. But I think a diagonal makes the most sense. Shoot up here and then crash into the election back down here to like 70 grand. And then after the election, shoot up even higher like that. Because it already crossed outside the fourth wave right here. So this would not really make that much sense if it came down here to new lows. But if it did come down here, I'd be looking for probably 55,000. So this looks pretty good. The miners got nailed today. Let's look at those. This is going to get killed tomorrow. Let's see. Where was Bitcoin at close? So, this Sunday. This was at Alright. This was at I guess it was pretty much at the lows by close. So, maybe not. So, Mara really held its own here. And I think it's setting up for a move higher. So this might end up being a diagonal too. You got to watch out for this. Maybe something like this. Nothing else really makes sense to me. If it's going to end up coming up here to 40 bucks that I originally had projected, it's not going to be a five-wave move, a normal five-wave move. It's going to have to be a diagonal. So we'll see what happens with Mara and the rest of the miners. I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's pretty much all for tonight. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe for more updates. I will catch you in the next video.